Hello everyone, how are you? I hope you are doing well. Okay, good. So it was a great session yesterday. I was really amazed by your comments, questions, feedback, interaction, discussions. That's really wonderful. Okay, good. So before starting, I want you to remind me about what we covered exactly yesterday's session. Can you just write what we talked about exactly? Yes, something important that you learned about. Can you write in the chat box? Approaches and methods. Karim, good. Ben Ramaq, the methods and approaches teaching is autonomous. Good. Ines, all right. Fuad, methods and approaches. Okay, good. Ines, teaching. It depends, yeah. Khawla, we have covered the difference between the approaches. Good. Huda, methods in teaching. Good. All right, direct method, Yahya. 4 approaches, interest in Muntasir approaches and methods. Very good. The importance of TEFL. Yes, we talked about the importance of teaching English as a foreign language. And there is no perfect approach. Very good, Kautar. Umayma, methods and approaches, Ramaq, grammar translation, TPR, DM, and communicative language teaching. Okay. All right, that's interesting. Okay. So remember last time we said that there is no perfect method or approaches, but it depends. It depends on what? So remember, it depends on the level of your learners. It depends on the type of the lesson. It depends on the size of the classroom. It depends on the interest of your learners, the attitude of your learners. So there are many conditions that you have to take into account. Then you choose the right approach or method. Okay, good. So before sharing, okay, yeah, or let me first, yeah, share the second module will be about teaching grammar, but teaching grammar communicatively. All right. So please, can you write in the chat box? Do you see? Yes or no? Not yet. So let me share. What about now? Do you see now? Yes. Can you write in the chat box? Okay, that's interesting. So you see. Good. So the second session of the free TEFL course, 20 hours, is about teaching grammar, not just teaching grammar, but teaching grammar communicatively. It means there must be communication because we view language as a means of communication. So when you are teaching grammar, you have to think about the materials, the activities, the techniques, strategies, the interaction between you and your learner. All these must be based on communication. Okay. So let me just erase this one. Okay. Good. Now, these are the objectives of today. We are going to start with the introduction. It's a kind of warm-up. Then the approaches to teaching grammar, the strategies, the techniques used to teach grammar communicatively, and then we are going to practice classroom applications. Then at the end, there is a review and a conclusion. So these are the tips, or sorry, the points we are going to cover today. Good. Now, as a warm-up, number one, imagine you are trying to learn a new skill. It can be fishing, it can be soccer, it can be any other skills. So number one, do you prefer to be told how to do it? Do you prefer someone to tell you how to do it, or to be shown? They just show you how to do it, or you by yourself read how to do it, or try using it and find out for yourself, or a combination of these. Now, you are going to learn a new skill. It can be fishing, playing soccer, playing tennis, climbing. Okay, these are skills, for example. Communication skills. So which one do you prefer? Can you write in the chat box? All right. So to be told how to do it, to be shown how to do it, to read how to do it, to try using it and find out for yourself, or a combination of everyone. Okay. Yes, I can see your chat box. I don't know what's wrong. So let me stop sharing first. Okay. So remember, number one, to be told how to do it. Number two, to be shown how to do it. Number three, to read how to do it. Number four, to try using it and find out for yourself. And the last one is a combination. Let me stop sharing to see your slides. So Firdaus, combination. Linda, combination. Okay, then Iman, a partnership between the teacher and students is better. Okay. Naima, combination. Amal, combination. Ines, combination. Mixing all of these. Asma, good. Baradi, Hanan, combination. All right. Siri, combination. Sukaina, combination. That's interesting. So you need to combine all these things to learn that skill. Okay, let me go back to my slides. All right. That's interesting. Good. Now, would you learn the grammar language following the same principles? Why or why not? We are learning grammar. Now, you talked about the new skill. Now, what about learning grammar language? Would you follow the same principles? Yes or no? Why or why not? Can you please again write in the chat box to see some of the? All right. So, Nordin, yes. Ines, it's a new skill too. Yes. Ben Ramaq, yes. Ashraf, yes. Good. Khawla, yes. Not all of them. Muna, all right. Abdurrahim, yes. Karim, yes. It would be enriching, interesting. Yahya, yes. Naima, yes. Salman, Bayh, yes. Okay. Mustaqil, Jihad, yes. Umayma, yes. In order to get a better understanding. Very good. Iman, yes. Firdaus, Huda, Al-Arousi, yes. All right, that's interesting. So today's session will be about the techniques, strategies, approaches, okay, of teaching grammar. All right, good. So this is just an introduction, warm up. Now, there's a situation here. Layla is a student. Now, you put yourself in the shoes of Layla. So Layla spends so much time preparing a grammar lesson. Layla is going to teach a grammar lesson. So she spent a lot of time on how to use simple past. So the lesson is about simple past, regular and irregular forms, so two types, with her beginner level students. The lesson, simple past. The type, two types, regular, irregular. The level, beginners. Good. She used a variety of sentences that provide the examples of different rules and explained these to students. They then completed some gap filling exercise sentences, which they all got correct. So she used variety of sentences. She provided examples of different rules. She explained to students. Then practice. The practice is gap filling task or exercise. 4 days, once Layla finished teaching her learners, after 4 days later, Layla collected in some written emails from her students. It's writing. And she taught before grammar. The writing, of course, will be about the past. Talk about what happened to you last weekend or something like that. This work contained many mistakes, especially mistakes in the way her students use simple past. Layla felt frustrated because she had prepared and prepared and prepared carefully for her lesson, but in vain. at the end, students made mistakes in using simple past form. Now, how would you help Layla? Number 2, what do you think was wrong with her lesson? Number 3, jot down your ideas on your partner. So let's start with number 1. Please answer only number 1. How could you help Layla? Read the situation. I'm going to give you 1 minute. Please don't write in the chat box. 1 minute. Read the situation, then you write. Only question number 1. So 1 minute. Karima, Amal, please 1 minute, then we can write. Iman, Khadija, 1 minute. All right. So read the situation carefully, then you tell me how could you help Layla. All right, now let's start. Nordin said using context. Excellent. Asma, she give them the rule of simple past. Explain more in mother tongue. Ines, using the mother tongue. Interesting. Muad, by telling her to find about the real root of the problem. Practice makes perfect. Hasna, good. Tina, communicative way, good. Contextualization, Linda Smith. All right. Miriam, she could add games. Excellent, I like it. Using games, fun activities. Brady, Hanan, she could start the lesson by attacks. Contextualization. All right. So start with a context. I like it. Using games. I love it. Okay. She had to make them practice through other ways. Very good. Variety of activities. Serin, filling the gap is not sufficient. Perfect. I like this idea. Gap filling is not sufficient. All right. Ashraf, she could get to know her students. Learning styles, different learning styles. Perfect. Okay. Halima, using competitive games like memory games. Wonderful. Ghamdi, she could start with real life situations. Perfect. Good. Now, question number 2. What do you think was wrong with her lesson? What's the problem with her teaching, with her teaching style? What was wrong with Layla? Can you write again in the chat box? Lack of practice. Msaoudi Kautar, good. Yeah, Hamza, using only one type. All right, just one exercise. Good. She used deductive. Abdjbani, good. Alex, I think. Yeah, Awatif Layla, I think Layla provided her students with. Yeah, she taught them directly. Muna, who the lack of smart preparation of the lesson. Wonderful. One learning style. Good. Sna. All right. Sarah, students get bored easily. Yeah. All right. Good. Yeah, that's interesting. Now, jot down your ideas on your paper. Good. Now, for number 1, how could you help Layla? Number 1, Layla should know that she is not teaching beginner level students. Do you remember last time I said, I am not teaching beginner. I'm teaching what? Do you remember what I said? Can you write in the chat box? I'm teaching what? I'm teaching what? I'm not teaching beginners or advanced. Excellent, Ines. I'm teaching 30 students, 10 students, Ines. I like it. I'm teaching a number of students. I'm teaching a group of learners, which means mixed ability classes, mixed ability learners, different levels. Okay, so please, let's switch. Don't say I teach beginners, I teach advanced, I teach 9th grade, 7th grade, 1st grade. No, I teach a number of learners, several learners, having different learning styles. All right, interest. This is number 1. How could you help Layla? We tell her, number 1, to have a variety. Variety of what? Of activities. Here there is only one activity, gap filling. And the problem is based on the level of sentences. What is communication? Where is conversation? Where are dialogues? Where are role plays? Where are discussions? So this is how we teach grammar communicatively, using communicative activities. So gap filling is not a communicative activity. Please underline this. Gap filling task is not an communicative activity. Good. This is number one. Number two, what do you think was wrong with her lesson? Number one, we say learning is a process. Very important. Learning is a process. You are teaching beginners. How come? You teach the two. You teach regular and irregular. No, no way. Learning is a process. The first session, I'm going to focus only on regular verbs. Next, the coming days, the coming sessions, I'm going to focus on exceptions, irregular, because here I'm teaching beginners. So here, Leila forgot that she added challenges when she was teaching the simple past. This is number one, what was wrong with her. Number two, she did not provide them with different tasks in the practice stage. She focused only on gap filling. And the most important, she missed the last stage, which is the production stage, in which students are going to use the language freely. The teacher is going to observe if students learned the structure or not. All right, any comments so far? Any comment? Is it clear so far? Okay, thank you. So please, we can learn from her situation. Number one, learn is a process. Don't bombard them. You are teaching reported speech. Don't teach all the types in one session. No, I'm going just to focus on positive or affirmative sentences and questions, then advice, then suggestions, etc. If I'm teaching passive voice, I'm not going to teach all the types, simple present, simple past, present continuous, past continuous, future perfect. No, no way. I'm going to focus only on the present forms. The next session, past forms. The next sessions, the future forms. Learning is a process. Number two, what we have learned from her situation, students need more practice, especially communicative activities, interaction. Student. Okay, good. Now let's move on. Now the feedback here for or about Leila's situation, learn is a process. It's hard for beginners to teach them the two past forms in one session. Number two, she used sentence level examples when she taught the lesson. Students found it hard to use the forms in text. When students want to write the email in the simple past, they couldn't write it. Why? Because she taught them using just sentences. But if she told them in the writing to write sentences, sentence one, sentence two, maybe they would get correct answers or correct forms of the simple past. Now, the key here that we have to learn. Number one, there are different ways of teaching grammar, not just one way, different approaches. Number two, no one individual method suits all grammar points and all students. We can use grammar translation, communicative language teaching, TPR, direct method, or eclectic. Yeah, we mix them all. Okay. Number three, you should vary. Some of you talked about variety. You should vary your approach to teaching grammar to cater for different learning styles. Because I'm not teaching beginners, I'm teaching 40 students, 35 students. Okay, good. Now, when we want to teach grammar communicatively, we should adopt the communicative language teaching approach. Can you remind me, what are its principles? Communicative language teaching. Can you please write in the chat box? Didactic approach. Very good, Ines. You are very active, by the way. Yeah, interesting. Yes, Amal, put language in situation. Excellent. Kareem, very good. Didactic. Awatef, I like it. Contextualization. Students is the heart. Very good, Miriam. Tina, context. I like it. Kautar, providing context. Good. Real life situations. Shargawi, good. Okay. Huda, context. Then, didactic. Authentic language, Shargawi, I like it. Authentic materials, good. Language, building interest, Jabani, interesting. Tina, real life situations. Yes, you got all of them. Yeah, I liked these principles. Realia, Tina, again, good. All right, that's interesting. Yes, so let's see here. So we teach lessons that are student-centered. The heart of the learning process is not the teacher, is the learner. I'm going to go home. I'm going to design my lesson based on the learner's needs, based on the learner's wants, based on the learner's age, based on the learner's levels, based on the learner's interests. In business, the king, the queen is the customer. In education, the king and the queen is the learner. All right. Now, number two, we create opportunities for students to use English actively. Communicative activities, real life situations, doctor, patient, servant, customer, or etc. When you go to the restaurant, waiter, and you, the customer. So real life situations. Number three, we create context for language. What do we mean by context? Context can be a text. You start with a text. You start with a dialogue. You start with pictures, visual context, contextualization. Personalization, telling a story is context. Using your body, you are creating context. So these are all types. Listening to the audio is context. Number four, we help students reach beyond their comfort zone. I'm not teaching, when I adopt communicative language approach, I'm not teaching only in class, but I'm helping my learners to implement these outside. Doctor, patient. So when you go outside, you can practice this with your family, with your friends, with your colleagues, etc. Okay. Yes, let's move on. Now, let's start now teaching grammar. I'm going to present two presentations about teaching grammar. And your job is number one, which lesson did you prefer and why? Number two, name the approaches that sum or sums up each lesson. All right, so I'm going to start with the first one. I'm going to teach simple past. So then I move to the second presentation about the simple past. So presentation number one. Are you ready? Yes, please. Do you hear me? Okay, good. So, hello, my students. How are you? Fine? Good. That's nice. Yes, Jalal, how are you? Good. Fine or good or great? Fine, yeah. Leila? Great. Excellent. Why great? Oh, you had a lot of fun. That's amazing. Good. Today, we are going to study a grammar lesson about simple past. All right. So the simple past of regular verbs is verb plus ed. Verb plus ed. I played yesterday. I played tennis yesterday. Yesterday, I watched TV. Yesterday, I cooked a nice food. So repeat, played tennis, played tennis. I cooked, I cooked. All right. So this is a simple past. It's an action that happened in the past. Okay, is it clear? Good. So this is presentation number one. Now let me move to presentation number two. This is the presentation number one. So the presentation number one, the teacher writes on the board, the simple past of regular verbs is verb plus ed. Teacher gives examples. I played, I watched. Now, presentation number two. Hello, my students. How are you? Fine? Or good or great? Who is great? Wow, again, Muna, great. Jalal, fine. Yes, why? You had a problem. Okay, yeah, I see, no problem. Okay, good. Now, Today we are going to start or to study a very interesting lesson. Good. So let me show you something very interesting. Look here. How many pictures are there? How many? Yes, Nora, 4. Excellent. So let me tell you about my last weekend. My last weekend. So picture number 1. Last weekend, I watched a film with my family. I watched a film with my family. The second activity last weekend, I played soccer with my family in the forest. I played soccer with my family in the forest. The third activity is I listen to music. I listen to music. And it was very relaxing. And at the end, the last activity last weekend, we danced with the family, listening to different music, different types, pop music, rock music. Do you like dancing? Jalal, again, you don't like dancing. All the time you feel bored. Muna, you like it? Very good. Yeah, dancing is good. All right. So these are two. So here, now, let me write on the board. I watch TV with the family. I played soccer with the family. I listened to music alone. I dance with the family. What do they have in common? 4 sentences. Can you observe? What do they have in common? Yes, Saad. Verbs. Very good. Verbs. Good. Can someone tell me also what do they have in common? Nisreen. Oh, thank you. Can you come? Yeah, go to the board, underline. What do they have in common? ED. Excellent. I'm going to give you +1. Go to the board, underline. Good. This is presentation number 2. Now let's go back to the presentation. Yeah, the task. Which lesson did you prefer and why? Can you write in the chat box? The first presentation or the second? Two. Yahya said two. Brady two. Sirin two. Umayma two. Linda two. Ashraf two. Okay, Sukaina two. Thank you. Yeah, both Imad. Good. Yeah, you are special. Sarah two. Badia two. Hind. Okay. So no one said presentation number 1. Why? Why is you didn't like presentation number 1? Why? For which purpose? Why? Abjabani 1. Yeah. Okay. Teacher, student. Good. Yeah. Jamali, yes. Yahya. Okay. It's boring. Fatima, boring. Explicit. More if, yeah. All right. Deductive, Fuad said. Linda. No interaction. Old way. No interaction. Boring. Students are passive. Good. Nordin, number 2 is more motivate. Yeah, there is motivation. Traditional, number 1, Ramak said. Okay. Negative, Yahya. Not students, folks. Okay. Miriam, teacher centered. Excellent. Good. I liked your remark and comments. Name the approaches. For number 1, which approach? Which grammar approach? Which one? Number 1. Yes. Grammar translation method. Deductive. Okay. Deductive. TPR. Inductive. Number 1 is inductive. It's number 2. What do you think? Inductive or deductive? So let's number 1, just number 1. Number 1. Deductive. Okay, deductive. Good. So here the approach is a grammar translation method, for example. Okay, or yeah, it's deductive. Or there is another name, teaching grammar as a product. Teaching grammar as a product or as a process. Presentation number 1 is teaching grammar. You give them the product. You give them everything. Okay. And presentation number 2 is a process. There is communication, pushing learners to observe, to interact, to find the rule by themselves. Okay, good. So what do they use? Or sorry, what did I use to help learners understand the form of presentation number 2? What techniques I used? Yes, can you write? Pictures, very good, Ines. Linda, visuals, interesting. Umayma, pictures. Tariq, pictures. Dialogues, excellent. Games, pictures. Contacts, Saoudia. Miming, very good. Animation, excellent. Azwin Najia, games. ICT, storytelling, very good. Contextualization, video, good. But yeah, not video, but VA, visual aids, competitive games. All right, that's interesting. And also, I used color coding. I said, go to the board, Nisreen, and underline the ED, color coding, to help them observe. Is a very important technique. You highlight the form, you highlight the structure. Okay, is it clear so far? Okay, now to motivate them, I use pictures, okay, eliciting some questions to get information, give them positive feedback. Very good, great job, nice. I'm gonna give you +1. These are techniques to motivate your learners, to engage them. Okay, good. Now, let's move on to the next slide. Now, fill in the gaps. I'm going to give you 4 minutes, please, 4 minutes. Fill in the gaps with the right words in the list. Learner-centered, time-saving, inductive approach, teacher-centered, deductive approach takes time. So you read them and you fill in the gaps. 4 minutes. Yes. So 3 minutes left. 3 minutes. Yeah, please don't answer. When you say start, then you start. Okay, classroom management. Okay. Basically, I say to my learners, give me 5 to listen to my instructions. 5 or high 5. Your mouth is zipped. Stop talking. Your eyes are on the speaker, the teacher. Number 3, your ears are listening. Number 4, your mind is focused. You concentrate on me. And number 5, your feet and hand still like this. Give me 5. All my students do like this. They do like this, and they say, no, close your mouth. Then it's classroom management. Zzz, everyone is quiet. Because if you say, keep quiet, don't make noise, please. No, they won't keep quiet. But when you teach them, give me 5, it works. It means just stop. Stop everything. So let's correct. Let's start with number 1. There are 2 main approaches to teaching grammar. These are the deductive and the inductive approach. Number 1, is when the rule is presented. We like presentation number 1. You give them the rule, the structure, the form. The simple past of regular verbs is verb plus ed. What is this? So let me see the answer. Deductive. Good. It's deductive. Yes. The teacher gives the rule. An inductive, good, is when the rule is inferred through some form of guided discovery. Guided discovery. Students will discover the rule by themselves. How? Color coding, asking questions. What do they have in common? Okay. Using pictures. So guided discovery. The teacher gives the students a means to discover the rule for themselves. In other words, the former is more, what's the answer? Is more teacher-centered, teacher-centered, teacher-centered. All right. So the first one, okay. And the latter, more learner-centered. Both approaches have their advantages and disadvantages. So there is no perfect method, no perfect approach, no perfect way. Okay. In my own experience, the didactic approach is undoubtedly, is it time saving or it takes time? Time consuming or time saving or takes time? It's time saving from the very beginning, given the rule, and allows more time for practicing the language items, thus making it an effective approach with lower level students. The inductive approach, on the other hand, takes time. If you compare presentation 1 with presentation number 2, the presentation number 1 is very short. The presentation number 2 is teaching grammar as a process. It takes time. Now, if you are teaching evening classes, teaching second back, quickly. Reported speech is this, simple part is this. But if you are teaching at school and you are adopting communicative language teaching, it takes a lot of time. Okay, good. So let's see the answers here. So number 1, deductive, inductive, teacher-centered, learner-centered, time-saving, and takes. Yeah. Yeah, takes time, not take time. Yeah, takes time. Okay, good. So 2 main approaches to teaching grammar, deductive and inductive. Deductive, you start, number 1, the rule. You give them the structure, you give them the product, teaching grammar as a product. Then you provide them with examples. Learners are very passive. You spoon feed. Yeah, you are the spoon feeder. You give them information and they are very passive. They don't observe. They are just listening. They are just consumers. They just consume, okay, what you give them. So moving from the rule, we start with the rule or from the rule. Inductive, examples. Why examples? Examples stands for context, contextualization, pictures, story, text, conversation, etc. Okay. And then you ask them questions, color coding, you underline to observe the form. So we are moving into the rule. So there is no perfect, but it depends. It depends on the lesson. If you have a very complicated grammar lesson, maybe deductive is the best. If you have an easy grammar lesson, maybe inductive is the best in this situation. Okay. So no comments so far? No comment? So Tina said, show me, I'll forget, involve me, I'll remember, or yeah, perfect. Okay, all clear. Thanks, Ines and Saudia. Great. So let's move to the next one. Okay. Now, practice. So look at this lesson. This is a grammar lesson about present continuous. Now, I want you to focus on approaches to teaching grammar. Which approach is used or this lesson focuses on? So let's start here. Just follow me, please. So this is activity number 1. Read the dialogue and answer these questions. Who is Libby? Where is Mehdi from? Where is the club located? What is this? What is this? The first activity, for what's the purpose? For what? For which purpose? So, for which purpose? Excellent, Awatif, Bez, contextualization. Excellent, Jabani, building interest. Introduction in as good. Setting, contextualization, building interest, Kautar. Sirin or Sirin, yes, to discuss, present. It's creating context, building interest. Okay, presenting the lesson. Okay, good. And what's the purpose here? There is picture. Why? Some novice teachers skip the picture. But the picture is used for one reason, which is you are teaching 30 students, different learning styles, visual learners, to facilitate the learning process. So there's a purpose. Yes or no? Do you agree or not? Okay, good. Look here. There is a conversation. So this is the context. We can say number one is which type of questions? What do we call it in teaching? Number one, read the dialogue and answer these questions. What are these? What do we call them? There is a greeting to activate the schemata, open-ended WH questions, introduction, WH questions, pre-reading. Okay, isolating the target. Excellent, Kautar Lamrani. Bravo, Kautar Lamrani. Leading questions. We call them lead-in questions or focus questions. So please remember, lead-in or focus questions, because they will elicit information about the main structure, the main content of the lesson. All right. So focus questions or lead-in questions. Okay. So we call them lead-in questions or focus questions. Okay. Nice. Now, number two. Activity number two. Underline all the forms of the verb be in the dialogue, then complete the grammar table. What is this? So what is this? Practice. Jabani said practice. Guided. Guided questions. Color coding. Presentation stage. Color coding Leila. Discovering Fatima Zahra. Study. Good. Discovering. Activate. Imad. Linda. Eliciting. Good. Shargawi. Highlighting and isolating. Good. Discovering the rule. Excellent. Zinab. Discovering. Ramdani. Good. Jamal Ghamdi. Mechanical task. Yeah, here the purpose is noticing. Number one, presentation. You present. Number two, observation, highlighting the form. Okay, and here we have color coding. Look, blue color. Okay, so number one, presentation. You create the context, you build interest. Number two is noticing, how to help them using a chart. And look here, we are using a table for visual learners again, color coding, etc. Okay, that's interesting. Now let's move to the next. Number three, complete the dialogue with the correct form of the verb be. What is this? What is this? Production. Ramak said. Production. Si Muhammad, fill in the gap. Practice. Good. Practice. Nadia. Practicing. Yeah. Khawla, practicing. Practice and production. So number three is practice. And there are two types of practice: restricted practice and freer practice or production. Let me write it here. This is a restricted practice. Students, they don't have freedom to express themselves, but they have to complete. Look here. Layla, remember the situation of Layla? She used the practice task in terms of the sentence level. So when it was writing, they couldn't write an email, because writing an email, there is a text, paragraph. Look here, there is a conversation. Is this communicative activity or not? What do you think? It's gut feeling, but it is communicative activity. You see my point? This is the difference between Layla's lesson and this lesson. This is based on communication. But if you write just sentences, students will not practice the language. They will just say one sentence and stop. But if there is conversation, interaction, that's wonderful. Good. Now we finished with the restrict practice. Now let's move to the next. The next one is who am I? Work in pairs or in small groups. Look here. What is this? Production. Good. We call it production or what? Another name. Or free practice or free practice. Very good. Free practice or production. So free practice or production. Here, students have got the freedom to express, to use their own language. Underline this. Free practice students are going to use their own language. Restricted practice, no. They cannot use their own language, what they have learned. They are restricted, just complete, just fill the gap. But here there is collaboration, communication, interaction. Okay, is this clear so far? This is what we call teaching grammar communicatively. Teaching grammar communicatively. Okay, good. The production stage is very important and students need time to practice. And your job as a teacher to monitor, to see is your lesson was clear for your learners or not. If students cannot interact, if students make a lot of mistakes, if students get confused, it means there is something wrong either with your classroom management or the way you teach or something like that. Okay. All right, so this is a Moroccan book. It is the Outlook. Sorry, no, it is Ticket. Ticket to English, first back. It's a Moroccan book. Okay. Is it clear so far? Good, so let's move on to the next. Good, now another one, another grammar. So compare and contrast grammar lesson or this grammar lesson with the previous one. You are going to compare and contrast this lesson with the other one. You compare approaches, activities used, and techniques. This is the book, first back, sorry, Common Core. It's the 10th grade Outlook. Here the grammar lesson is about used to, past habit, activities. Okay, so let's see here. You compare number one, look here, activity number one, activity number two, activity number three. Before we compare, and activity number four, let's identify. Activity number one, what's the purpose? Activity number one, what's the purpose? Right in the chat box again. What's the purpose? Leading questions, excellent. Is contextualization. There is context, yes or no? Yes. Is there a picture? Yes or no? Is there a picture? Yes. So what kind of questions would you ask your learners? What kind of questions would you ask your learners about the picture? What do you see? Good. Yeah, what do you see, Sukaina? Good. Who is she? Good. Observe. What can you see? Good. Nadia. What does it represent? Good. Direct questions. Now, when you are teaching beginners, it's very easy, okay? All right? So you can say here, hello everyone, how are you? Good, that's nice. All right. Look here, is there a picture or not? Yes. How many people are there? Two. Very good job. Two boys. What do you think? Two boys. Do you agree with Jamal? He said two boys. Leila. No. A boy and a girl. Yes, Jamal. Karim. Is he a boy or a girl? A girl. Karima? A boy. No. Karima is a girl and Karim is a boy. So here we have a girl. What are they doing now? Reading. All right. Or maybe in the past, they used to read. So these are questions that you can ask, okay, for the picture. Don't skip pictures, please. Pictures is a kind of visual representation or visual presentations. They really help to facilitate the learning process. Slow learners can understand through having a look at different pictures. Good. Then you say, yeah, look, this is a text or a paragraph or an email. What do you think? Or a conversation? Oh, it's a conversation. Very good. How did you know? Ah, two people. How many people are there? One or two? Two. Three. Good. Lucy, Yasin. Oh, just two. Okay, two people. Yes, this is just warm up, leading questions, motivating learners, building interest. Not from the very beginning. Today, we are going to learn about past habits. I use to plus bare infinitive. No, no. Students are demotivated, they are passive, etc. Okay. Now, activity number 2. Study the sentence with used to in the dialogue and choose the correct option. What is this number 2? Activity number 2. What's the purpose? What's the purpose? Can you please write in the chat box? Yes, noticing, presenting, present. Is it presenting or noticing? Yes, highlighting is notice, is observation. Okay, is noticing. Okay, you are given the rule. It can be also presentation if you want to start with the deductive approach. But here it's noticing. Students are going to observe. We are going to highlight the form or the use. To highlight what? The form or the use, or both. The two. We use used to is the form. And number 2 or number 3 or number 1, habits in the past is the use. We are highlighting the form and the use. Okay, number 3. Ah, very interesting. Number 3. Complete this sentence about yourself. Is this a communicative activity or non-communicative activity? It's practice, yeah. Is it communicative or not? Is it communicative or not? Yes, not communicative, involving students, yes. Okay. So it is restricted practice. So number 3, complete this sentence about yourself. But basically, it's not communicative. There is no communication because the learner is going to work alone. Communication, please. When we talk about communicative activities, we talk about role plays. We talk about discussions, debates, conversations, dialogues, interaction. Okay, so these are communicative activities. But here, it's somehow not communicative because the student is going to write and then talk, okay? But if they are going to compare, complete the sentences about yourself and then compare with your partner, it's communicative. You agree with me? Okay? All right. Now, activity number 4, write 3 more similar sentences about your life as a child. What is this? Restricted or free practice? Free. Why it's free? Because learners are going to use their own, underline, own language. They are going to express themselves. Okay, they are free to use the language. Now, if we compare, which one is communicative based? Which one is it? Number one? Or is it lesson number 1 or lesson number 2? Is more communicative based approach? It's number 1. All the activities are based on communication. It's number 1. But the second one, there is no dialogues or working together or in groups, etc. All right, good. So no comments so far? No question? Okay, thank you. Clear? Yes, Karim, everything is well. Yeah, Una, clear. All right. So everything is clear. Thank you. So let's move on to the next. We are going to go back to this lesson, by the way, at the end. Now, PPP model. If you want to teach grammar communicatively, it's good, it's effective to adopt the PP: presentation, practice, production.